We're not afraid, we're not afraid.
How are you? Let's begin with global news. And first of all, congratulations to the entire Venezuelan community for everything you are achieving, for overcoming your fears, for freeing your prisoners, and for demanding that things never go back to the way they were before. Obviously, this is a different Venezuela now, and there's no turning back. Today, several images like this one was surprising people in different places. Let's look at this one where they are freeing Luis Somoza right now. That's where the SEBIN agents arrived, and well, they released people there, their families were waiting for them. But well, several people who have bravely led the opposition under that regime have been released today. And obviously, well, that's how they've been welcoming them. For example, there you see Jesus Armas, who is also part of the welcome they're giving him. We've already shared more images of this moment earlier this afternoon. Congratulations to Venezuela, and let's hope we keep seeing that fearless Venezuela. Obviously, that's extremely important in these times. Also, well, let's start with Iran, which has also surprised us today with this image that they are showing from different locations. Today, flights were cancelled. There was no possibility to fly, and the airspace was closed in several areas. Apparently, this is because missile launches are taking place, which clearly shows that they are seeking anything but peace. I'm sure they'll report on it. These are missile tests or special launches that could be showing force ahead of tomorrow, since there will be meetings taking place this week. It's a news item. What's going on?
Well, to begin with, it's a notice. The term Notice of Air Missions in English means Notice to Airmen, which has now been changed to Notice of Air Missions, which basically covers what are official alerts from each country. They can be temporary, as with these military tests, or permanent, like Ukraine's ongoing war, which has lasted 4 years. In this notice, it can impact flight safety or planning, such as runway closures from bad weather, military exercises, or active volcanoes.
Obviously, they haven't confirmed, they haven't said exactly what it's about, they've only closed the airspace. And well, many experts think that it could obviously be missile launches. It could also simply be nervousness that something is about to happen to the Iranians, and they don't want to be caught in the middle of the weekend like it happened before, let's say right in the middle of June. They came from everywhere, obviously. Well, we'll be paying attention to what's coming, but well, little is known.
Little is known. The reality is that right now, almost no information comes out of Iran except for what they want to share. Like today, when we watched Ali Khamenei's grandson give this interview, or the legislator who claimed that the United States wanted a rather strange arrangement. According to him, who knows if it's true, but aside from that information, it's difficult. It's hard to know.
Now, images and comments from Iranians have been appearing. Look, this is being shared today. It's a message that has been shown and that draws attention today. This was shared by Tories Television on Twitter, but like this image and those comments, there are several according to what this person reports. An Iranian who, according to what is known, took his own life after this video. What he's asking is not to negotiate. What he's asking Trump is not to negotiate with the Ayatollah's regime, he says. Look, 40,000 people have already died. 40,000 people who were protesting. This is more than many wars. He says that while many wars don't claim 40,000 lives here, 40,000 people have already died just for protesting. At least that's what this person says, that's what they're saying, that's what they're asking for.
Well, both internationally and nationally. There in Iran, many people have come out directly asking Trump not to negotiate with the Islamic Republic. Hundreds of messages have also been sent to non-state media outlets such as Iran International. From both inside and outside the country, people are asking Trump not to negotiate with the Republic, warning that the talks would legitimize the repression and betray the protesters who lost their lives because of the security forces.
Obviously, this attracts attention. We saw that person and another there, and if you want, we can discuss that topic soon. It's very interesting. He's an Iranian, one of those officials who are already starting to escape from that country. But anyway, here's something else we know. Do not negotiate with murderers. They tell Trump, they say, please, Trump, don't negotiate, because if you negotiate with these people, they're just going to keep dragging things out. The situation Iranians live in.
Exactly. And negotiating with this clerical government, it means trampling on the blood of the young people who lost their lives in the streets. Messages have been received from Qasim. Is it Qasim? They warned that the talks would demoralize the protesters and months of resistance would come to an end. We took to the streets to free Iran from its criminals. Trading with this regime is trading with the blood of the people.
Well, that's part of the messages. Meanwhile, these kinds of images keep being shared where they show the bunkers. Where it's already well known, they have a lot of bunkers in the mountains where there are missiles, where there are also launchers, and well, these leaders now move around freely. Another issue that also draws attention today with Iran is that the nuclear stakes are being raised. The United States is also showing strength, and as we see the United States operating throughout this area in the surroundings of, from the Arabian Sea, the Persian Gulf itself, and some other regions towards, well, there we see the images in this region near the West Bank where the United States is moving missile defense systems. This is thanks to a satellite image that, by the way, was shared by a Chinese satellite. What stands out is that the United States is getting ready, but Iran also wants to show that they are not just sitting idly by. What's happening in that regard?
Well, Iran obviously continues to defend its nuclear sovereignty. In fact, today, the Iranian Foreign Minister, Abbas Arashid, who, by the way, was the person who spoke in these agreements, these talks he had with the United States, he said no country can dictate its actions. Iran, regarding its nuclear program, maintains that uranium enrichment is a sovereign right. Today, Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian also expressed support for dialogue. The Iranian president said the indirect talks with the United States and Oman were a step forward, and he reiterated that they are committed to the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, rejecting the language of force. For their part, senior United States officials, including Jared Kushner, who was Donald Trump's son-in-law and the head of United States Central Command, boarded the aircraft carrier United States S. Abraham Lincoln as a show of pressure. This happened just one day after the Iranian talks.
Exactly. But anyway, the red lines have definitely already been crossed. All the red lines that Trump set saying don't attack the population. They did it not just once, but many times, and the same people are telling him not to negotiate, not to reach an agreement, because that would be worse for the population of that country. Now, clearly something is happening inside. It's been several days that explosions have been heard inside Iran. The fact that he doesn't come out to acknowledge what's happening tells you a lot. There's no control from his government. Now, what we're seeing here?
Here we're seeing one of the generals, one of the important military leaders, the chief of the Iranian army. He also announced the army is preparing a response plan. As usual, it's unprecedented against the United States, and the Iranian Air Force is already prepared for an attack.
Supposedly, they are preparing on the shores of the Red Mud. Sorry, I mean on the shores of the beautiful Strait. In this whole area, flights, planes, and missiles have already been seen, getting prepared around there. Someone shared with me a soldier who is in the United States and is actually in Kuwait. Well, from the United States. He shared an image with us. We'll show it now so you can see how the United States is conducting tests in Kuwait's sky. This still draws attention, thanks to the community that through Instagram, through Twitter or X shares information with us. I really appreciate it. Look, what you see inside Iran is it's not just a problem between two governments. Here, there's a population that's caught in the middle and wants to free itself from this regime, a population that's fed up with this situation. And simply, well, they're asking everyone, Donald Trump, don't negotiate, because that would obviously be the end of any hope for change. Well, what else is happening in this matter over there?
Well, the arrests continue over there in Iran. In fact, today it is known that they have reportedly detained 3 people who are considered pillars of Iranian reformism. Their names are at random Masuri, Asgarazad, and Azmizad. It is said even more strongly, they were brutally detained. These individuals are influential leaders within Iran. They have been accused of multiple political crimes, such as attacking national unity and cooperating with enemy propaganda.
According to the reports, there is an individual who, well, no, if you want to talk, what happened with this one?
This person you're seeing is Gholam Reza Derikaf. He was the Chargé d'Affaires of Iran in Vienna and has just abandoned Iran's ship. He is the second diplomat to leave Iran. The high-ranking one, right? He is known and familiar with Europe. He has followed the example of Alisera Gestrafi Jokamat, another high-ranking Iranian diplomat who was dismissed while at a European post at the United Nations and also requested asylum in Switzerland. Iranian diplomats have now made this decision because they don't think the regime will last much longer, and they are trying to settle in the countries where they are, if possible.
Well, inside Iran, the politicians are there. It's very difficult to escape, to get out, but those who are already outside or those who have family members abroad are already starting to take advantage. All well to abandon ship before everything ends up collapsing. And this, well, it's not something new. It's something that's been happening for weeks already. I mean, this has been going on. Since the protests started, people began to appear outside, or even family members started leaving Iran. You could see it. The United States Secretary of the Treasury says accounts and cryptocurrencies from Iran were moved to various parts of the world. And with what is being observed now, what is confirmed is that more and more people are abandoning ship. They often display these missiles when possible. And whatever you want, it remains a relevant topic, let's say, regarding the dynamics of the Iranian military. These bunkers, obviously, well, it's not, let's say, it's not like fighting with Venezuela, that's clear. But at the same time, when you have the population against you, like in the case of the Ayatollahs who are desperate, they want to end this already. That could also be the big difference in the event of a potential conflict. That's what's being calculated right now. At the Pentagon, they're really trying to see what kind of support this type of regime has. How does the Revolutionary Guard work? What percentage of the Revolutionary Guard would like to see a change internally, and what percentage would be loyal or faithful to the leader Ayatollah? That will also have to be calculated. Obviously, there haven't been massive protests that have been repressed, but people are protesting now in their own way in different forms. This isn't over. I believe there are still many chapters left to observe in this situation.
Exactly, that's how I feel. I don't think people are just going to accept things as they are after the lives that were lost because of the government. I mean, not his act, but specifically the one committed by the government.
And well, on the other hand, let's move on to other matters because there's an alert, there's an emergency right now that's being reported from New York. Let's get to the details. From what we can see, it's the west-east, or rather the northeast, United States. As previously mentioned, temperatures would drop below minus 20 degrees Celsius, reaching states like Pennsylvania itself, which is already there. Well, at the level of New York, those temperatures still haven't reached New York yet. Apparently at the moment, but well, that's just what the community watching us over there is seeing. If you are north of New York tonight, it will happen to me. It shows me here that you will be at minus 23 degrees Celsius. We're talking about when you get to minus 23 degrees Celsius, you're basically inside an ice cream shop, right? Even colder than an ice cream shop. It's so cold they call it polar cold. Obviously, there's a reason, right? So big hello to our friends watching. Now, let's get into the details. The Arctic wave is hitting pretty hard, freezing rivers and lakes. These winter storms have already claimed around 100 lives across the United States. So, what does that tell us?
But right now, New York City is experiencing the most intense cold in over 20 years, with temperatures that drop to minus 16 degrees Celsius and a wind chill of minus 26 degrees Celsius, according to the Meteorological Service. Well, actually 24 degrees Celsius right now, minus 24 degrees Celsius in this. According to the National Meteorological Service, they did feel minus 26 degrees Celsius. During the most critical point of this polar wave, New York recorded the lowest temperatures, even lower than in Antarctica. Then the McMurdo Base, which is at the South Pole, which reported 6 degrees below 0 Celsius. A difference then that is due to this massive drop of this bubble, this polar vortex that has descended from Canada to the United States.
The balloon is the famous polar vortex burst being felt in this area of the United States. So, in other words, for this region, fortunately, apparently, we are not expecting heavy snowfalls. If we look at least the last 24 hours, this area has been relatively calm, not like the east. For example, in other areas like Oregon and Washington, you can see a lot more moisture, all this area, as we can see here. Towards New York, there isn't as much activity as there has been, for example, in other regions of the world. Like what has happened or what has been happening in Morocco, obviously in Spain, in Portugal, where there have been some pretty intense storms. And where, as we've already mentioned here, temperatures have been close to minus 20-something degrees. Those are Arctic level temperatures. No, well, they say it can cause immediate freezing problems. Now, some areas in the United States and even in Canada are going to have wind chill temperatures that are even lower. No, we're already talking about temperatures with a wind chill of minus 40 degrees. That's already, well, it's just unbelievable, isn't it? Because that's when a lot of things start to fail, even the power grids themselves, and that becomes very complicated. Obviously, it's not just about the rivers. It's striking that there have been completely frozen rivers, and that really draws a lot of attention. Clearly, Mayor Soran Mandani has already launched a large operation to assist homeless people. There are already 550 workers. In community matters, let's say adapted buses, 60 warming centers, the whole city. According to ACU weather meteorologists, many of the towns in the northwest of the United States are going to experience, well, an issue of extreme temperatures is the famous Hudson River. Exactly, well, frozen, don't insist, it's a crazy study, not enough to walk on it, but it is.
And that's not all, right? It's like the shore.
Yes, exactly, but they're like huge chunks of ice, right? Well, obviously they show how cold it is. Now, even though it's cold, it's not reported that there's too much humidity. And that's also going to be important when it comes to what might happen next. Pay attention to what's happening in the next few days, because it's definitely going to be changing. And suddenly, out of nowhere, we might be surprised by snow, or other types of phenomena might surprise us. Obviously not, I mean, there won't be that much humidity, that's what they're saying. So, let's say new snow. Let's see if there's a chance of new snow in the next 3 days. There it will be, 1, 2, 3 in the next 3 days. At least for what is Pennsylvania, what is part of New York, up to around there. It's day 1, from now until tomorrow, Monday, nothing on Tuesday. There's already a little bit of snow in northern New York and up until Tuesday. In the morning and afternoon, there will be snowfalls of up to 10 centimeters, mainly in the northern part, and in the southern part, around 2, 3, 4, 5 centimeters. So there will be some snow. No, not in significant amounts. Now, if we go to this part, not New York, not the city, let's say, but to what is supposed this Manhattan. There isn't this whole area, well, there are apparently 0 chances of snow in the next 3 days. The snowfalls are more for the north as well, obviously for Ontario, for Ottawa and this whole region. Michigan, even further north, they have chances of some snow, right? That's interesting too, but besides that, do you notice there's little humidity, not much humidity in this whole area? When it comes to snow, where there is a lot of humidity and chances of snow, look where it is. In the next 3 days,
Apparently from there are 0 chances even in the next few days.
Utah, the north, mainly Wyoming.
Idaho, Montana.
Well, Nevada is gonna be there, Nevada, right? At least that's what we can see for now. No, it's not much. Just 6 or 7 centimeters in 3 days, unless you're in California's mountains where you'll see more snow. Greetings to those watching us from Santa Fe over there in New Mexico. In Arizona, it's also going to be much calmer in that sense, and well, in Mexico, there could also be snow in Chihuahua again. We're not talking about just 2 centimeters of snow, right? In some places, 9 centimeters, and that's considered a heavy snowfall compared to what we're used to. But well, that's how things are. Regarding the weather, if you notice, at least here in Mexico, it's a topic that isn't really happening today. Extreme cold. Sure, it's cold in parts of the north and center, but it's not below 0, right? That's important to note, so let's move on to the next few days. We're seeing, look over there, from Monday to Tuesday, temperatures could drop a lot, almost to 0 degrees. They might even reach 0 degrees in Durango, and also in the south of Chihuahua. All of this, but well, that's what we can expect. Let's see if we have to wait until next week or maybe in 2 weeks for it to happen again. Big changes in terms of cold temperatures are coming to the United States. and that could have an effect on Mexico. But I'm trying to find it to see if I spot a day when it gets intense and I just don't see it anymore. And it's starting to get closer. We're talking about around February 20th already. Yes, it could be that a more intense cold is coming, at least for California, Baja California over there, but nothing extreme. I mean, still, let's say above zero, right? Where if a lot of cold comes, it would be for a week or two more. It's for this area, for the west of the United States. And well, it's going to stay, the temperatures are going to stay really cold for this area. Let's move on to other important matters happening in the world. Check this out, there's also a story about Cuba. Something's happening there. According to reports, there's a news release at the Jose Marti International Airport in Havana, Cuba. They say that, well, there's simply no fuel for the planes, and this is due to the blockade they're experiencing. Obviously, they're asking for planes to stop coming.
Exactly, the Cuban dictatorship. Today, they announced to international airlines that bring tourism to the island that starting Monday, they will no longer have aviation fuel. Well, this was confirmed today. The measure is obviously part of this shutdown they are currently experiencing because of the United States government. And well, they have threatened that anyone who enters will be hit with tariffs. And well, this warning about there being no more jet fuel, but what is it that airplanes use? Well, it's a huge collapse. I mean, because it basically means zero tourism. Now, this was already obvious, but now, seriously, it's very,
very crazy. That's how it is, right? That's the situation.
By the way, since we're talking about Cuba, Mexico just sent humanitarian aid, 2 ships with humanitarian aid to Cuba. That would be 814 tons of food. We're talking about milk, meat, rice, and beans, as well as personal hygiene items.
It's
814 tons. There are 2 Navy ships that set sail today from the port of Veracruz.
Well, that's how things are, not about what's happening over there in Cuba. Greetings to everyone watching. Now let's move on to other important topics, like Cuba. Well, let's go. Other important topics about what's happening in the world right now. Well, here's an image. This caught attention today. Carlos Juan Semide Centinela 35 shared this image on Twitter of an earthquake that happened over there in Oaxaca, an earthquake that caught attention today. One that was a 5.5. I think it was a 5.5. Let's check to see what it was. According to what the United States Geological Survey says, 5.77, 5.7. According to the reports, that would be the earthquake that happened today in this region of the country. Look, in just one day, something active happened. A 5.5 earthquake in Cuba, and now an earthquake that is reported as a 5.7. It has a depth of 18 kilometers, deeper than the one in Cuba. There are 2 earthquakes, the 2 largest in the world today. Both are 5.7. This one, where is this one? Over there in Chile, yes, and this other one is in Mexico. 2 identical earthquakes, 5 in terms of magnitude. Of course, the one in Chile is 119 kilometers deep, very deep, and the one in Mexico is 18 kilometers deep, and the one in Cuba is 10 kilometers deep. 3 Latin American earthquakes, Chile, Mexico, Cuba. Look, there are the 3 biggest earthquakes of the day, all 3 in Latin America. It's interesting. 1 in the Caribbean, 2 on the Pacific side. Well, that's how it is.
The activity. 3 earthquakes in Latin America.
Look at the big earthquakes, all 3 in Latin America.
3 earthquakes in Latin America. 3 earthquakes in Latin America. And look, earthquakes, all 3 in Latin America and Cuba.
I mean, we saw the show. The set design was really impressive, honestly.
3 earthquakes in Latin America.
Look, 3 big earthquakes, 3 in Latin America, Chile,
Mexico, and notable Latin American earthquakes.
The big earthquakes of the 3 in Latin America, Chile.
Yes, it affected all of us.
It affected all of us. That's when we understood. Paloma. Mexico, yes.
Yes, to open our mouths.
Yes, when she wants to, you can understand her. That means she can do it, right? Yes.
It's just that they really can.
That's the style. It's not right, but it's fine. Everyone does their own thing. I mean, the point is that it got intense. Everyone started dancing. And this is, by the way, the most watched show in Super Bowl history. I mean, I'm saying it says...
Not scoring.
Does that say a lot about the President of the United States, Donald Trump? Well, let's move on to other matters, other important topics, what's happening in the world. To begin with, well, another topic that draws attention and has generated some comments. Isn't that what Juanipa says, Juanipa? Yes, exactly. Well, first of all, finally free, finally, well, that's good. Besides, he arrived and went out to talk to people, to go out and propose things. I mean, not even an hour had passed since he was free and he was already, well, getting things moving. I mean, he really intends to put a stop to the regime. In the end, now he said something very interesting. He says, we want reconciliation, but with the truth, not just, oh, everyone loves us. And force everyone to go through another regime like the Chavista regime. So, in the end, Juan Pablo Juanipa is very sure, obviously, that the people don't want to go back to the same thing, obviously. And he went out, well, to make a challenge. In a very smart way, I think, and also in a very direct way, right? Smart and direct. But without getting into confrontations, it's about saying let's all respect each other, and there really is a reconciliation. In that sense, it seemed very different to me from what one might have expected. Not from someone who has personally suffered under a dictatorial regime, right? That also says a lot about him. And well, as for Venezuela, honestly, you know, some very interesting leaders are starting to emerge there, obviously. And well, what else? What else is going on over there? What do we have in Venezuela?
In Venezuela, today focused on the release, though some people are still missing. This person, Juanipa, Armas, etc., was some of the people who attracted the most attention because, well, many of them, I remember. Juan Pablo Juanipa was the closest to Maria Corina Machado. In fact, there were these trucks when they were leaving, after they had already been robbed. The election, right? And he would get in with Maria Corina there to, well, give people hope that the regime could be changed. And, well, this was the most intense thing today in this country. And, by the way, also speaking of Latin America, Mexico sold or exported 127 tons of avocados for the Super Bowl, an 11% increase. I mean, it continues, but avocados are being consumed like crazy over there in the United States every time there's a Super Bowl. It's a new record. 127,000 tons of avocados consumed, and there are plenty available right now. Cañón is here too.
A lot.
Strangely, during the Super Bowl, we sometimes run out of avocados.
Yeah, no, not this time. This time they calculated the production well. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy at all to figure all that out. They're already opening up markets quickly in other parts of the world. So, well, we see that gold continues to recover after a sharp drop. It's already above 5,000 again. I mean, after dropping to 4,000, what is it? 4,400. It's already at 5,018. And well, it's going up, but it still has a way to go to recover. But yeah, it's interesting that in that sense, the dollar is going up even though it's weak, right? And it's the same with the euro or the peso, right? However you want to look at it. Everything is calm now. It's just that there was a lot of anxiety because of everything that's happening with the oil situation, wondering if oil would open in other parts of the world with big drops or something like that. Well, so far, at least so far, nothing like that is happening. No, nothing like that is happening. Let's move on to other matters. Well, today Russia once again pulls out the old reliable move. Russia threatened to use all available means in the event of an armed conflict with Europe. The Kremlin's warning once again increases tensions. At one point it seemed like things had calmed down in quotes, but they had calmed down. The messages towards NATO are coming back, he says. If Europe carries out its threats, will they prepare for war and attack us or attack the Russian Federation? Then it would no longer be a special military operation, but a full-scale military response using all available means. This threat draws attention to the fact that Russia is preparing a massive evacuation. I mean, after what has been happening in Belgorod, where they already carried out an initial evacuation of the population who were under very cold temperatures, because they simply couldn't supply them with electricity. Well, now in this area up to Belgorod on this map, and it's in this area across from Kharkiv, here's Belgorod, they're preparing for mass evacuations there. According to local authorities, they've already started the urgent evacuation of residents. Due to a severe energy crisis that has left much of the city without heating, 455 buildings have no heating despite sub-zero temperatures. Obviously, it's a problem. There are schools, clinics, and universities there, and they're experiencing a bit of what Ukraine has been feeling for years. Yes, and in that sense, today the Ukrainians are sending a message from Ukraine. They're telling the Russians something.
They're telling them that, well, energy sites are now legitimate targets for Ukraine. That means Russian energy infrastructure, anything that generates energy, will now be attacked by the Ukrainians. This comes after the attacks that Kyiv has suffered for basically 4 years now, especially during the winter. Russia always focuses on trying to demoralize the population because the Ukrainians who are affected are the civilians, not the military.
Well, the thing is that the alert has been raised for about 3 or 4 months now, when Zelensky said, you know what, this is over. We're not going to make it an eye for an eye situation. If you attack an area you shouldn't, we're going to attack it too. That was basically the message. Yeah, and they hadn't done it. They really hadn't. Until a few weeks ago when it started to become noticeable that there were blackouts and that they were attacking substations and things like that. Well, there's a list of videos of Russians reacting to this, really angry, totally shocked, and really scared. I mean, obviously nobody wishes harm on anyone at all. But suddenly, these kinds of situations that they're about to experience right now might also help Russians understand a little bit that this is something Ukrainians have been living with for years. Maybe that's true, maybe they won't understand it that way either, but the thing is that something else is also happening right now at the border. In this area, the famous partisans are operating. Who are the partisans? Well, they're Russians, and I'm not saying they only operate here, they operate all over Russia, but mainly here Russians are operating. I mean, Russian-speaking Russian citizens with Russian culture, everything, but they operate against Russia because they don't want Putin. It's that simple. For example, the ATEC group, which they say is dedicated to and is advancing and attacking critical infrastructure inside Russia. What's going on?
Well, this ATEC group just claimed responsibility for a direct attack on military communications infrastructure in the Russian region of Belgorod, which is where evacuations are taking place. By the way, the attack happened in the early hours of today, February 8th, when an infiltrated agent activated a technical module at the base of the strategic communications tower. ATEC reported that all the tower's electronic equipment was disabled after the ground system was destroyed. And well, they say the enemy has been blinded. That was their message, claiming to have disabled Russian jamming capabilities in this section of the front, at least.
Hey, well, this is a twist. At the end of the day, it's a twist. It's known that the partisans, I mean the Russians, have been operating since the beginning of the war. It's just that they hadn't been seen with such intensity. They hadn't been seen separately, saying it publicly, which also, well, draws attention at least, right? In this way, the sabotage coincided with the blackouts that have been happening since the beginning of February, and pay attention with the Starlink blackouts. Today, I even shared a video with you of a very angry soldier saying, since Starlink went down, they took us back to the medieval times, he said. He said they've taken us back to the medieval times because, well, we don't have an antenna anymore. Come on.
What did he want?
Aren't the satellites connected? To be able to fire. The Ukrainians were using Starlink satellites to fire. And, well, now they don't like this situation, and obviously it's made them very upset. There has been a decrease in attacks and operations on the front lines precisely because of this issue. The point where this is being observed is here, but also towards the Zaporilla region. Something very interesting is happening as well. According to what these images show, where you can see Ukrainian soldiers and in the background is the entrance to Zaporilla. According to reports from the Ukrainian armed forces, they have expelled them from Ternubate or Ternubat, I'm not sure how it's pronounced. In that area, they were controlling the Russians, which is a part of Zaporilla that they had controlled for some time. Well, today, at least that's what they say, the Ukrainians have reportedly managed to take this area and control it. That's why they stand by the sign and say, here we are, we have the flag and we're operating, right? That also draws attention today on the part of the Ukrainians. It's not something unusual, but there are also these kinds of situations within Ukraine. It's not all about one side advancing or the other side advancing. Obviously, it's a war and both sides are getting hurt. Let's listen to this moment. What happened there?
Russia attacked residential buildings and a gas pipeline in Odessa. Remember that it's an area of Ukraine that's already quite close to Romania and Moldova. The explosions are also being heard in Kyiv, with attacks by Russian missiles and drones.
Odessa. There we see it in the southern part of Ukraine, which is near Romania, which is part of NATO. By the way, in Kyiv, the capital, very close to Belarus, this is the border with Belarus. Well, here in Kyiv is where attacks have also been happening.
Apparently, at this point, it is known that at least one person has lost their life in Odessa because of one of these drones, Chechen.
Well, that's how things are regarding Ukraine. Let's move on to other important matters. Hey, well, it made me laugh because they've been publishing images of the Supreme Leader crying and, well, what's going on? So why have they almost turned the Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei into a meme with this image? Well, it's because this person didn't attend one of the most important events for Iranians, which he has attended for the past 37 years. We're talking about an event that's related to aviation. It's an event connected to that country's aviation, and that's what they're saying right now. No, it's one of those meetings that he had never ever missed, they say. The annual Air Force meeting would have been without the Supreme Leader for the first time in the last 37 years. What's happening in Iran? Obviously, it's a question everyone is asking. What's inside or what's happening within the regime? Because many people say this is already starting to shake, and I'm not saying many in the sense of the people of Iran or the population. No, we're not talking about people who are inside, people who come out wearing the Revolutionary Guard uniform or dressed as soldiers. Apparently, at least, and they say they are already refusing to operate against the population. This is an issue that has been increasing over the past few weeks. And well, we can see how people, mainly diplomats, have been abandoning operations in other countries. That's also very interesting. This is something that will be discussed right now between the United States, Israel, and other countries like Saudi Arabia. Communication needs to be at its best to determine how they'll address this issue. Another notable issue is what's happening with Elon Musk. Pay attention to this, okay? Elon Musk. He claims that he will pay the legal defense of anyone who tells the truth about the Einstein case and gets sued for it. I mean, if someone comes forward with information or documents and gets sued, he says. He publicly commits to paying for their entire defense.
There it is, down on Twitter actually, where he posts that. Now, whether it's true or not, well, he says he's really going to do it. Whether he keeps his word or not, we'll see.
Well, it's very interesting that he mentions it. Hopefully, if he does it, he truly follows through with it. Because, well, He wants to distance himself, let's say, from being mentioned in some emails, so I imagine he wants to separate himself even more from that topic. No, obviously not, but it would be interesting for people who can speak up and have strong information to do so. That they have the assurance that they will be defended, that at least they will have, top-level lawyers, right? That's what he says. We'll see if he follows through, but it's interesting.
And since we're on the Epstein topic today, one more crazy and surreal thing. The FBI comes out to claim that Jeffrey Epstein was not running a trafficking ring with minors. For powerful men, they basically have no evidence of this. Imagine the level.
Imagine. I mean, look at what the FBI prefers to do. They're not going to say, no. I mean, there wasn't a trafficking network. Everything's fine. Don't worry. It's all good. We've already investigated it. With that, they want to lower, let's say, Epstein's own level of responsibility, because if they lower it for him, they lower it for everyone else involved. So, honestly, it's a topic that nobody believes anymore. I mean, this is something that's obviously ridiculous. Also, something that was a huge deal happened. This happened between, a cryptocurrency company that kind of by accident sent about 2,000 bitcoins per person. They accidentally sent it to 650 people. They meant to send a small prize of $2 to $3 to each person.
I'll give you 2001, about dollar estadounidense, United States dollar, 1.40. It's not much, but...
And a little more here and there. I mean, some got 3, 4, it depended. But suddenly, by accident, they sent them 2,000 each. Imagine, a single Bitcoin is currently worth about $70,000, and suddenly it appears in your account. Not just 1, but 2,000 Bitcoins. That's an impressive amount. Well, like you said, it's good.
It was about $44 billion, just to give us an idea. And Bitcoin says it's the company that did this promotion. And the intern accidentally made a mistake. He didn't put tokens, he put Bitcoins. They say they've already recovered about 99.7% of the 620,000 Bitcoins they sent. They have an approximate value of $44 billion, and they restricted operations for the 695 clients for 35 minutes.
Is it that those people...
Fast.
The changes could have changed them. Isn't it yours? There could be a legal problem there, but I mean, there's always someone clever who goes and makes them disappear, right? So, at least 99.7% couldn't be done. I imagine that someone, as soon as they arrived, immediately sent them somewhere else.
One of the people at the control panel, right?
I don't know if they're going to get you back. But this caused a lot of people to go out onto the platform. It made them feel uneasy. Obviously, this whole thing and how you're just giving away Bitcoins like that just by mistake is obviously a serious issue.
The company's statement is as follows. We would like to make it clear that this incident is not related to external hacking or security breaches, and there is no problem with the system's security or with the management of clients' assets. But South Korean financial regulators, including the Financial Services Commission, said that the incident has exposed vulnerabilities and risks of virtual assets.
If, as they say, they are not?
That it was the intern's fault. The interns? Yes.
That's the issue, so let's move on to other interesting topics. Today was the Super Bowl. Bad Bunny was seen singing there. But right away I had to check because it seemed really quick to me.
Yes, he posted it.
To check if you saw it.
He brings it to the media.
It seemed really ridiculous to me. Or does Donald Trump come out to talk about how bad I speak? If you can't understand him there, the body says you can't understand him at all, but he doesn't even speak Spanish, so what's the point? I mean, why does he say it's not that you can't understand him, or like even if he spoke well, you still wouldn't understand him? But anyway, the point is that he came out to say no, that...
And that he reads Spanish.
What are those dances? And the kids?
The kids?
And kids. Like that, I really mean it, or was the dance actually good? I mean, no, it's not like today was good.
But Leo, if the Super Bowl halftime show is really bad, once seen as one of the worst, it's now considered one of the best. By the way, if it doesn't make sense, it's an offering to the greatness of the United States. It doesn't represent our standards of success, creativity, excellence. Nobody understands a word that guy said. We didn't understand either, but it doesn't matter. The dance is inappropriate, especially for young children watching at home in the United States and worldwide. This show is a slap in the face to our country. He is setting new standards and records every day, including the best stock market and the best plans. 401k in history. This halftime show disaster is anything but inspiring. You'll see. They'll face harsh criticism from the fake news media, who have no idea what's happening in the real world. And by the way, the National Football League should immediately replace its ridiculous new kickoff rule. Let's make America great again, President Trump.
Well, that's it for the National Football League. So let's talk about how it went for them. How did they do this weekend? Any movie you recommend? Something you've seen? How has Marifer been? Very good. Even Ann Plus, how's your game? How are things in Jalisco, Mandrave? How are Rublos and Francisco Arce? To the whole community watching us in Mexico City, thank you very much. A big greeting. To everyone out there, to Juan Benavides, to the whole community supporting us from Peru, from Argentina, obviously from Colombia, thank you very much. He says, I know. With those looks, I think I might even change my name.
Now in Brig Palm.
$1,000 this morning you show up lifeless? No, yeah, nobody knew.
It's not my life, it's just not anything ordinary.
Where was Julio Benavides? No, he's drinking a coconut on the beach in Timbuktu. I don't even know if Timbuktu is really over there. Where is Timbuktu? By the way, they always say Timbuktu, Timbuktu, you'll see it. Oh yeah, see it, sure.
See it, yes. No, I'm not seeing anything else.
Wait for me in the city of Mali. It's in Mali. Hey, it's pretty nice. Yes, it's called Timbuktu, but it's basically a desert. Well, no, it's not bad at all. Someday I'll see that we haven't used the name too much. No, people in general. This Timbuktu is nicknamed the City of 333 Saints. Take a walk from Monterrey, look at the flight, but it's cheap, 110,000 pesos, 110,000 pesos to get to Timbuktu. Well, I think it's easier to go by boat, I don't know, but look, 110,000 pesos is right there. What's going on?
Did they just kidnap Juan Pablo Honig?
Let's go to that situation, let's go. Well, right now there's a very serious report, obviously. This is directly from Maria Corina Machado's account. This was published a few minutes ago. Up to zones 1032 at 10:12 p.m. This is reported by the person who also manages Juan Pablo's account. Guanipa, yes, urgent. It says international alert. A few minutes ago, Juan Pablo Guanipa was kidnapped in the Coros neighborhood of Caracas. Armed men in civilian clothes arrived in 4 vehicles and forcibly took him. We demand his immediate release. Look, this matter is obviously very important, especially because it's about reconciliation. I mean, it's not even like he actually said anything. Let's put it this way, he wasn't totally harsh against it. It hurt them. I think it really hurt what's left of the regime. Did it hurt all these people who are already gone? You know that the people supported them, that the people went to support them without having to be taken there or anything. I mean, without being bussed in. I mean, suddenly people started supporting him. He was a governor, he was a congressman. Let's make him a person. He was very important, let's say, in the opposition in Venezuela, and now he has gained strength.
Right, it mentions a group of 10 unidentified people. And well, they were driving a silver Toyota Corolla, a white Blanche Rover, and a Renault symbol. And well, they demand immediate proof of life and their release.
Juan Pablo Isodoro Guanimpa Villalobos is a lawyer, a Venezuelan politician, the elected governor of Zulia State, a leader of the opposition party Primero Justicia, and he served as a deputy of the National Assembly in the 4th Legislature and as the first vice president of that body. Between 2020 and 2021, this political prisoner, who was also released today and is now reported by Maria Corina from her official account, has been detained. Let's check if any media are already covering the topic. There are already several here. El Tiempo reports the following. Maria Corina Machado. What we just mentioned reports that Juan Pablo Guanipa was kidnapped in Caracas hours after being released. According to what is reported or according to what this outlet says, but basically I'm seeing the same thing, exactly what Maria Corina says. I imagine there still isn't much information, but the message is in Spanish and also in English. I imagine it's so that it can reach the United States as quickly as possible, since it's an urgent matter. Obviously not, because if this was done in such a sudden, strange way, right? What could it be? Why are they doing that if he was already released? What are their intentions in taking him?
I think this was an outburst and impulsive action without thinking, like you said. Well, I think Diosdado, more than anyone, I think he's the most literal one who...
Everyone looks at Diosdado or even at Padrino, right? But... well, it's also a lack of knowing how to operate also on the part of Delcio Rodriguez. Because if this got out of hand, or even herself... But honestly, I don't think she did it because it's the least convenient for her. All of this because in the end it's a responsibility that will fall directly on her. Now there's clearly a rift within this acting president. That's what they call her, right? That's the position she's supposed to have. Now what's gonna happen? What reaction will there be out there? In the United States, everything will surely point, as you say, to a visceral Diosdado, not just any reaction, but a tremendous one. And another thing is the way they've been releasing them. I mean, they released them, they've toned it down a bit, but they still released them with their faces covered. Obviously, they almost pushed them out. And let's go, right? I mean, there have been exceptions. Some cases have been a bit calmer, but these kinds of actions do draw attention. So, well, what does all this mean? I don't know if that's the topic. Let's also read some comments while we're looking at this. I don't think Trump will react right now.
I don't know if there's going to be a reaction from Marco Rubio, but no, I don't see anything.
Well, it's only been a few minutes, so I imagine this might take a little longer. But let's read some of the comments about this situation on Maria Corina's official account. Just to see what the reaction is there, right? I mean, I thought it was an old tweet, like it just came out and they've already picked it up again. Someone asks over there, Gaia says, William.
Sorry, Carvalho says, did truth and justice hurt them? That's a lot to ask from those who know they've committed real crimes within the framework of true justice.
That's right. I mean, that bothered them, didn't it? And I think everyone was surprised by how quickly Juan Pablo Guanipa went viral in all the media, both nationally and internationally. And suddenly you can see that, well, this is taking another turn.
Doesn't Sebastian say Diosdado used him as a trophy when Guanipa was imprisoned? It wouldn't surprise me if Diosdado is the one behind this again, because he's scared to death.
Exactly. Let's hear what Guanipa was saying. I think this is from today. Let's see what he says. Yes.
Venezuela has the right to be a free country. Venezuela has the right to be a democratic country. Venezuela has the right to breathe institutionality, to breathe the rule of law, that there are rules and that we are all obligated to follow them. And the first ones who have to follow the rules are those who are in power, who today are illegitimately in power. They are in power because they respected the result of the electoral process and because people took to the streets to protest. They were imprisoned, and many were imprisoned before that electoral process. That's why at this moment the most important thing is to ensure that all political prisoners are set free. We demand freedom for each and every political prisoner. Spending even 1 hour in prison without committing a crime is a serious injustice. Now just imagine what it means to spend hours, 10 hours, a month, a year, 2 years in prison. That cannot keep happening in this country. That's why we demand the freedom of each and every political prisoner. And that's why we demand that this country begin a great process of democratic transformation, so that we can say it's good to live in Venezuela, that it's good to live with rules, that it's good to be a democratic country. Good to be a free country. Long live free Venezuela.
Long live free Venezuela, said Juan Pablo Guanipa after being released. And well, it must have been minutes after that when he was detained by an armed group, according to what is known, because it was already nighttime, right? And then, well, obviously this is really intense. This video we just watched was posted directly on her account today, 4 hours ago, and about 20 or 30 minutes ago when she posted Maria Corina. Well, this situation of a kidnapping, right? That's a really tough subject, a really intense topic.
Situation. I'd be surprised if the CIA made any major moves in Venezuela after this.
We have to remember that they're there and the military is also very close by then. It's a move, well, already a total direct challenge from some group, probably, I insist, from those involved, but from some group that's operating inside. Obviously, there will be, well, surely a strong reaction. Well, let's go to the comments. Let's start reading comments, and if there's anything else, we'll talk about it here. It's really intense, isn't it? This situation is tough, right? What is the community saying? How is everyone doing?
What are they saying? Greetings, this one says. Angie was saying that this is because things were left halfway. If what happened is that they didn't take Diosdado and the work is only halfway done, then yes.
Good point there, good point.
Yes, greetings also to Dake LMA. Thank you so much for those 2 super chats.
Thank you so much, Dake LMA. Greetings all the way to Tijuana. Thank you very much. And well, to the whole community that supports us, thank you so much for your super chats and your comments.
He says, greetings. Also, he says, do a special program, he says, from Deca J, talking about how much longer do you think Donald Trump will stay in power?
Today, we were talking about that this afternoon, and the conclusion, at least the feeling we get, obviously, well, is, and we've talked about it. I think that, if I'm not mistaken, also that if it looks difficult, not that he's going to finish the 4 years, I mean even his first year. And all the problems that have come up, no, in the United States, on a global level, the worst debt in the United States. Something he promised wouldn't be, make America great again. They've broken that. At least a good part of them just don't trust her. The thing is, what's it called? This is just the tip of the iceberg, and you're already seeing a huge mess behind it. They're operating at full capacity, and key figures are already falling worldwide and in the United States. So it's like everywhere you look, right? They have no way to hold on anymore. The most legal thing, or the most, would be in the midterm elections. The people would have to be very decisive, because that would also be extremely important. Now, Donald Trump is so desperate he wants to start controlling the elections.
Yes, he already sees it as lost.
He sees it as lost, And if he tries to control it, he's going to try to stay by force. And well, with the risks he's getting into right now, I imagine he's gonna go all in, right? He's gonna try and risk everything, no matter what. I mean, with institutions out of the picture now, he's really going to get into unknown fields or areas. No, at least for a democracy like the United States, that would obviously be a worrying risk, right? What else? What else is going on out there? Are we going to continue? He says. Greetings. Thank you very much for the invitation. Little burgers with wine and beers?
How delicious. We also had burgers, but without wine. The potato wedges turned out really good. Very nice.
Yes, really good wedge-style potatoes, but baked.
Baked, and today I made you an invisible apple cake. That's how I know why.
And have you tried it yet?
No, I haven't tried it. It looks really nice, but no, I haven't tried it. I just let this one cool down. I only tasted it.
No, it was really good. It was really tasty. And yeah, watching it. In fact, we got to see the halftime show.
We didn't watch the halftime show since we're not big American football fans. The show was amazing. I mean, it's really made for people. I call it TikTok rhythm, right? Because it was like bam, bam, change, 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 change. I mean, you couldn't get bored. Often I like the performing artists, but I get bored because it's slow and needs change. It varies because I remember Michael Jackson's, which was like TikTok rhythm, bam, bam, no, no, no.
Nothing has surpassed Jackson's yet.
No, of course no one will surpass him, but this one had that rhythm, right? And at first you wondered, where is he? And nothing? I mean, it's all there, right? With all the scenery that turns out to be people, they're people.
It's called the corn of corn planting.
Of corn? I thought it was sugarcane or...
Sugarcane? I don't know. I heard it as corn.
But yes, they were people, and the wedding that took place there was a real wedding. I mean...
They got married?
They got married. They are two fans of Bad Bunny who had invited him to their wedding, and he invited them to have the wedding at the Super Bowl, which is crazy, especially with the reference to this bunny boy, though that's not the case I need to discuss.
They looked alike. See if you thought so. The father and the boy, they looked alike.
She says that the showman is a real showman. Yes, I mean, it's really amazing. No, I mean... I remember when we watched the halftime show when there were going to be a lot of rappers, I was expecting something like that, something super impressive. Well...
When was this Kendrick?
Okay, no, when Kendrick was there, his music was kind of cool, but it was just, okay, not that great. Yeah, not the one with Snoop Dogg, it was Eminem. Oh, yeah, I mean, with that one, I was like, wow, I was expecting something really amazing.
Yeah, it needed more. It was there with a group. I don't remember exactly, but Eminem was there.
Others would come in one after another. It wasn't dynamic, it was boring and lacked something, but this one was extremely dynamic.
Thank you, DKML Master. Greetings.
Thank you very much again.
Thank you very much, says Vasquez. Thank you very much, Vasquez, for your comment. Greetings as well, he says. Thank you very much, says Rubro. Okay, greetings, Cindy.
Says Sebastian. Now everything feels like a reel. We've gotten used to instant gratification. I'm not sure that's good, especially for children. It's not good for them to watch, for example, TikTok, my shorts, because it does affect their ability to concentrate, retention. It's tough, he says. I love this couple. Thank you so much.
Greetings,
says Tapatia. I don't listen to that music, sorry, but it's not very good either.
But I mean, you enjoy it. It's like when you watch a music video from a band, that you don't follow, but the video is really good. It's the same. I mean, it's just enjoying something like a show. Basically.
Yeah, there were parts that really reminded me a lot of Tito, what's his name? The Latin music guy, Tito Puente. There were a lot of references to that kind of music. It was cool, the part where Lady Gaga came out singing her song in a Latin version. Ricky Martin dances so well. Wasn't that amazing? Tapatia, you really missed out.
She should see it, but she doesn't like the music.
But yes.
I mean, the point is that she dances really well. Lady Gaga, she appears in it. What's his name? Ricky Martin? Singing. I hadn't seen him in a while, right? 50 something? He's 54 years old, right?
He still looks great, says Francisco. I thought he spoke bad English, but it was Spanish. Yes, it was Spanish. That's why the one who gets offended in the movies, they understand him there. And those of us who speak Spanish, yes, no, says Jack Draper on Instagram. They say the show's wedding was real. Yes, it was, he says. Who could top that wedding? No one.
It's not what you told him earlier? Didn't he say no? No, you were telling me this. When you brag about the wedding, how do you top them? You can't.
It's not the same as before. How do you beat that?
It was really good. That point must have hurt Trump the most, because it's like telling him, look, do you understand? America isn't just the United States. It stretches from Canada to Chile, right? That's the reality, right? I mean, that's the point. And well...
And interestingly, before the Super Bowl, unintentionally, our son showed us a good video. An episode of The Simpsons where they talk about immigrants, and I was like, wow, that's crazy. It turns out they're the same lies from 20 years ago, because that show is pretty old.
Yeah, it's old. It's when they want to kick Apu out of town. And that jerk Homer acts really mean. He gets super Make America Great Again, right?
He gets really...
Make America Great Again. And the whole town notices. You can see them starting to adopt those ideas, saying things like, yeah, everyone out and all that.
And one of the ones who gets the most aggressive is this Mo. And the funniest thing is that when they're taking the citizenship test, there's Mo,
You, Mo. You're an immigrant.
Of course, and it's very typical.
There are always 2 or 3 groups, usually immigrants or their children, who are very anti-immigrant, but that's just how they are.
Do we still believe in the same Asunción?
Or what? Or you're an anti-immigrant president, but you marry an immigrant too, and the vice president as well, right? I mean, you say, well...
Yes, also, right?
He says, comments. Did anyone know what it said, the cap that Bad Bunny showed at the end?
Wasn't it the cap? The ball said, we are all America.
We are all America.
Okay, the ball, I don't think so.
It's not that there was a cap, I think.
I saw one. He brought a ball and he took it.
No, he left that at the beginning. He left it really quickly. Yeah.
Or maybe it's the same text from the back that said, love is stronger than hate.
Well, right now what they're reporting is that Marco Rubio is also going to be part of Bad Bunny's group. He's going to be part of the...
Of the show?
Of the show. Let's say...
For all the jobs for him?
Hey, they put everything on this Marco Rubio, right? Now he's dressed as a mariachi. What else have they dressed him as?
As Simon Bolivar, as a supreme leader.
As a supreme leader, that's also a lot.
Also from the one in Cuba, they put him like Fidel Castro, who is Fidel Vasquez.
From Fidel Castro, yes, also.
No, yes, it went well for him. He's been doing very well.
Fidel Rubio?
Fidel Rubio, it would be.
Imagine showing up one day at the White House dressed in that suit.
That the suit is shy? He says they're anti-immigrant, says Vasquez. He says, it's just that Bad Bunny is a symbol of resistance for Hispanics in the United States. They love him, says Francisco.
Of course it is. It became that. Exactly. That's the interesting part, let's say, that Bad Bunny has had. It was his turn, right? To become that symbol, right? And that's very interesting. He says he's confused, unsure if it's about the ball or cap, but it was the last one he showed.
It became a ball again. Let me check.
Okay, and we're just one. We're a single race, says Vasquez. Is that right? Greetings, Vasquez. Very good, he says. Sorry, Pepe. From Canada to Australia. Greetings, how are you, Ruben? Very good. This one says, let's see, yes? Let's see. What have they given me? What do they say and how do they come in?
Let's say hi too. It says there will be one. Let's check. It says Sebastian. Now everything is good. We read in the Francisco, don't get bored street, don't bore me, Francisco. It's just that when I expect a National Football League show, I expect it to be super, super dynamic because you're giving a show to everyone. It's not just the United States. And besides, it impacts them in a certain way. They don't get paid when they do the show. They only get paid what the union says they should get paid. I think this Bad Bunny guy is going to get $1,000, something like that. But their sales skyrocket, their streams, everything just takes off for them. So is that a business in the end, in the long run? So I'm expecting a show like that, not something that's super over the top because, well, it's the National Football League.
I hope someone will one day top Michael Jackson's show.
That sounds tough. Do you think they can manage it?
I feel like that's the highest level of showman. I mean, when you say, dude, what's going on? Like, who the heck are all these people? Who's Michael? I mean, no, and it's that level of surprise. Like, what's the name of that magician? The one who's now in the archives? Epstein, what's his name?
A magician?
What's the magician's name?
David Copperfield.
Copperfield, no.
David Copperfield gave him tips, right? Yes, tips.
That's why I say it. I mean, because it's a show at that level, you know, where you say, I don't even know what I'm watching anymore, right? I mean, it's crazy, the whole thing about and where. There was also another show that was really crazy. It was an unidentified flying object that appeared, unidentified flying object, something like that. That wasn't at the Olympics.
I don't remember. Yeah.
Yeah, there was an unidentified flying object, but I don't know which one it was. Yeah.
Yeah, which one could it be? I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember which one it was.
He says, Marvin, huh? You really don't. He says, I'm not a fan of Bad Bunny, but what he did, mentioning all the countries in the American continent, was great. We're all Americans, says Marvin. Yeah, me neither.
I'm not a fan either. You don't hear a La Rosalia song, even though I'm a fan of hers.
No, I didn't listen to her.
It sounded like a sample. I expected her to come out, but she didn't show up, right? He says this.
I thought Dario Yankee was going to come out when the E came out. Give me more gasoline. He says, they also noticed that behind was Pedro Pascal, Jessica Alba, and Cardi B, who is also half Dominican. Many famous people were here. Greetings from Luna, she says. I don't like Bad Bunny, but I enjoyed the show. Yes, she says, that sense of unity among all American countries showed when he named them. What I liked most is that he threw a tantrum, and you think, well, let him be upset. If we stay united, nothing happens, right? Greetings to Ruben Williams. Is his show on? Argentina is the southernmost part of the series.
Yes.
Yes, greetings.
I thought so, but I'll check it now. Thanks for the info. It's great.
Greetings, and greetings also to Jesus Naro. Rubroxiano says for us, greetings to Elisa Sofia. He says, yes, it was an American football.
All right, okay.
He says it's Rubrox's turn. For Puerto Williams, is it in Argentina or Chile, he asks.
Puerto Cayo. Yes, Puerto Cayo is also called Puerto Williams, right? Let's check. They're asking him maybe to another Rubrox or Ruben.
Says Draper. Even if you saw it as just a performance, it was very well done. Yes, I completely agree with you.
Analyze your data.
She says, what's up with the light poles he brought out? I think it's a reference because there are a lot of references. I think it's a reference to the difficulties Puerto Rico had while playing. The hurricane, yes, because Puerto Rico lost power for months. It was something really difficult, and yes.
Yes, it was terrible. No, they didn't send help. Trump? The first term, by the way.
He says up to the last album, that's exactly it. The rhythms of Puerto Rico, he keeps saying that the last album is really good. Recently, I listened to Tirando Fotografía since I hadn't heard it before.
Tirando Fotografía, yes.
It's really good, and the lyrics are really good. Yes, the parents. Greetings also to Sergio Sanudo, who says Israel chose God. Okay, greetings to Chris. He says, I think it's Chile.
Everyone chose God. No country is different.
Because we are all the same, right? Greetings to CC Tapatia. Was Paul ever in any National Football League? I don't know if I remember.
I don't know, no, I don't know.
No, I don't remember.
Yeah, no, I don't know. And yeah, I really don't know, this one. I mean, this one would have to be something really popular, right? Because now they've been focusing on what's super popular. I mean, popular as in trendy, right? It has to be really trendy for them to notice. Maybe that's where it gets more complicated.
Yeah, if it's about reaching a new audience.
That's not how it works, I guess.
The old timers, no, not anymore. Because you either like it or not. Your mind is already made up. It's uncommon for people over 40 or 50 to suddenly like American football, but more likely for someone around 20.
2005.
Yes, she sang Volva. She sang in 2005. She sang in 2005.
He says, a Super Bowl halftime show in 2005 held in Jacksonville. Paul McCartney performed classics like Help, Live and Let Die, and Get Back. That's what St. Google tells me.
And was he alone or not?
It wasn't the main event.
It was the main show.
Yes, Palm Meet, Super Bowl, and here are the videos. He didn't know that there would be a winter one. We'll have to watch the show, he says. Super Bowl. 2005 February 10th. Ah, Universal, yes, more or less the same dates as now. Yes.
Greetings! What am I missing? Oh, there's no jet fuel for aviation in Cuba today. Breaking news.
We already talked about it a little while ago. Look, yes, it's really serious.
It says, Sebastian Monge says Bad Bunny is a tool. It sounds like a conspiracy, but the first record label the owner belonged to is or was a general of B or Z from Venezuela. The Cartel of the Suns uses it for laundering, and it's also pro. Okay.
Bunny says a guy from Michoacan greets, "How are you?" "Very good, Vasquez."
Joy and Puerto William. Chile would be the southernmost town on the continent. Look, says Francisco Arce. Before there was only one singer, although now it's okay, says Christy. Comment, Bad Bunny did well, and I'm not even a fan. They've never brought any Korean group, right? I thought not. Well, now they're getting desperate because he speaks Spanish, but he's American after all. He's from the United States.
Does BTS sing in English or Korean?
Do they sing in English and Korean? It's mixed, I think. I thought they were going to bring the three from Keep Up Hunters, or whatever it's called in the movie, the one with Dragon. Yes, Keep Up Hunters, Demon Hunters.
Keep up, maybe even this Super Bowl. Let's see if anyone does. It would be something.
BTS, which is the most popular?
Yeah, no, look.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I mean, maybe...
Since there were rumors, they say it was the fans, the armies, right?
Yeah, the armies themselves.
Armies. They add things like, "Oh yeah, that's great."
Says Tepatia. I just read that it hasn't snowed in Vancouver. It's the first time. I just read that it hasn't snowed in Vancouver. It's the first time since 1983.
That's wild. We'll check later.
Greetings to Edilce Sendeño from Panama. Hello, Edilce.
Greetings, ah.
She greets us from Panama. Greetings, Edilce.
Greetings, A. She greets us from Panama. Greetings, Edilce.
Greetings. Panama, greetings, Edilce.
We have to check. That's great. Well, a hug. Take care. See you tomorrow. We interrupt your regular programming. Thank you for tuning in. Honestly, this is Pepe Live.
The truth is intense, the unusual is real. Here we analyze it, global perspective. Don't miss out, tune into the Pepe Live channel, controlling the signal. Pepe and Astrid telling it like it is. Raw journalism, here, respect is given. Turn on the alert, don't lose track until next time. Yes sir, we're taking attendance. Subscribe.